Hello, bellicon family. Fayth here. So I'm very excited about our guest today, Dreena Burton. Before I give Dreena the stage, I want to introduce her, although many of you probably know her from our bellicon channel. Dreena Burton is the founder of Fascia Flo, a proven method for restructuring the fascia to restore mobility, relieve pain, and enhance wellness. Beyond specializing in fascia health, Dreena is a pioneering plant-based cookbook author with 8 published titles. And we will put the link to her socials and website in here. Dreena, thank you for being here today. I'm so grateful. You've been like one of the people I wanted to have on, and I see your bellicon in the background. How did you get started with all this? And feel free to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We've known each other a little while now.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess I started rebounding a long time ago, but started with a spring rebounder back in the day.
Yep.
And there was this channel called, before all of the videos were out there, it was Caribbean Workout. And do you remember that?
No, I don't know this. I'm like, I got to go Google it now.
It was, back in the late 80s, early 90s. And they had a rebounder. So I went down and
Oh
got
my
like a little spring
gosh.
rebounder. And then after maybe 5 years or so, I then found you somewhere along the way. I found you online and you were doing little short videos. They were like 10-minute clips. There was a
Yes.
horror one, there was a dance video, and you had
Yes.
the bellicon, and I was like, I need the bellicon. Yeah. And it was a complete game-changing
Yeah.
moment to start bouncing on the bellicon and just how good it felt in the body. And I think even more so now, like being in menopause, just knowing how good it feels in the body to be on that surface.
Yes. Yeah. The bungees versus, I had the same exact experience with switching from springs to bungees. That's so wild. So, so with your work, so your specialty is like all things fascia.
Mm.
So can you tell us, our community, a little bit about like fascia and how important it is, just
Mm.
kind of like an overview of it before we get into how rebounding kind of complements the fascial work you do?
Yeah, would love to. So, a lot of us know the word fascia now, and
Yeah.
a lot of us understand it as connective tissue, but it's far more than connective tissue. It's not just connecting things in the body. It's actually the very first tissue that forms in our body in embryo. It is the primary tissue. It's the environment for everything in our body, all bodily systems. When we're forming an embryo, it's there first, and everything forms within it. If we didn't have it, we would just be a slosh of cells on the floor. And it holds our life story, and our shape. We form it through our activities, what we do in life. We form the fascia because it creates structure in our body to keep us upright and really house everything that is in our body, our organs, our muscles, our nerves, our cells. It permeates all of those tissues as well. It permeates the bones, it permeates the muscles, rounds. It's our proprioception, our interoception. It's really our life force is our fascia, and we do not know how to care for it. Like we've never been taught what it is and how to care for it. So kind of we're
Yes.
catching up now to learn and
Yes.
understand its importance.
Yeah, I feel like as my body's aging, like I've been told, stretch, do mobility training, but these kind of like deeper aches I just am getting now that I never had. Like that's the fascia work. And I think we were told go get a massage or foam roll, and those are good things too. I love foam rolling, but rebounding, like how can that be the sort of the next, how does that support fascia? Like why is it good for the fascia?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that, fascia experts will tell us to do is to move differently, not to
Okay.
always do the same activities. And I think with one thing with
Interesting.
rebounding is we kind of move in a lot of different ways when we're on the rebounder. We're
Yeah.
always, you know, working with different steps and different movements and challenging the brain as well. And of course, because the lymph is housed in the fascia and it helps support the lymphatic functioning. But there is a specific movement, and that's what we do in fascia flow that targets the tissue, the fascial tissue from the inside out. And unlike the foam rolling and the massage, it's not painful because those things can really be.
Yes.
And it's
That's
so
so true. It's so
painful,
true.
and you never get to the deep layers of fascia. So there are things we can do to improve it. And then what I do is I do my fascia flow movements. Sometimes I do them on the rebounder, but also I'll usually just hop on the rebounder for like a few minutes after and just kind of give everything that rinse through
That
because then it's what
lymphatic.
all the cell. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that lymphatic rinse. I love that word rinse with that. That's like beautiful imagery. So what's your routine? Like people always ask, how long do I need to get on this thing to see these or feel these benefits. I always like the feel better than the see, but how, like,
Mm,
what's your go-to? Yeah, in terms of like minimum, maximum times of day.
mm.
It's such a big question we always get.
Yeah, for the bellicon specifically,
Yeah.
or yeah,
Yeah.
I
For
you know,
rebounding.
for I don't go more than 10 minutes on the bellicon, and now I used
Yeah.
to bounce I could bounce more, but
Yeah.
we've kinda learned that in menopause I'm 55 now, and so
Yeah.
the body recovers differently and also responds to stress very differently. So
Mm,
these longer held cardio sessions create more stress load in the body in menopause, and we have a harder time recovering from it.
interesting.
So I'll do the sprint interval training type
Yes.
of, yeah, workouts usually, and that's like 20 or 30 seconds on of high
Yep.
intensity, and then you
Yep.
get a nice minute recovery or a little bit
Yes.
longer. And that really supports, women in my age group
Yeah.
because it helps lower the cortisol and it also helps
Yes.
with the insulin resistance and all of these things that really face us in menopause, our
Yes.
muscle mass and all of those things. Yeah.
I
So that's
love
usually
that.
what I do.
That's so interesting because I feel like so many of us are like, you have to do this much per day. And I think there's a lot of pressure and it almost,
Mm,
it's like a relief that you just said you do 10 minutes a day. Because I think that that's attainable for most people. And also I think maybe that's what people are intuitively feeling in their body is that they do need to do these shorter bursts of time. And I think there's like a pressure around getting in an hour a day or whatever it is. So that's like a relief to hear.
yeah.
I also only bounce a few minutes. It's the same thing in the morning. I'll do 3 to
Yeah.
5 minutes and at night. So I'm with you doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
I think listening to that cue of the body, because really, I think that pressure of the hour-long workouts
Yeah.
comes from the commercial development of classes that are targeted around an hour to make it
Yeah.
worthwhile for people to go to the gym or the studio.
Yes.
They need to make it a value for that person, but really, that's just commercially driven when if we listen to our bodies and just get on there and do a little bouncing, be like, "Okay, we're done. We're good." You
Yes.
know? Yeah, and sometimes even 3 or 4 minutes is really all you need if you don't feel like you have the energy to do that high intensity, then just do the lymphatic kind of focus of some gentle bouncing and do your lymphatic drainage. I do my lymphatic drainage sometimes on
Nice.
the bellicon.
With
So
that.
that's another nice tool to have.
Amazing. So what advice do you have for women, like specifically 40 plus, who are just starting out on this journey, like where to begin? And you can include all of your modalities like as well.
Mm,
And then where to begin with rebounding. Like there's a lot of people who will watch this who will say like, it's overwhelming. Like, where do I start? What do I start with this conversation? So what's your advice in that
yeah.
way for the newbies?
Yeah, that's such a big question. I think the main message that a lot of us get is we must strength train and we must stretch. And strength training is good, but too much of it causes over compression in the body. We
Yep.
are a tension compression network, the fascia is. People get things like, they get injuries and things like compressed discs and a lot of
Yes.
problems happening in the body. And then the other world is the stretch world where people are over lengthening
Yeah.
and they're changing the tension in their bodies. So I think we need to really rethink the messages we've been given because in our 40s, I know for me in my 40s, my body just hurt.
Yeah.
Perimenopause made my body just be in pain everywhere. And it was
Wow.
partly my fascia that I didn't know how to care for it. And when I started to work with that, it really changed the pain in my body. Like it just took it
Wow.
out. And then also changing up the way you've been exercising. If you've
Yeah.
done the same thing for decades, it's probably time to change because your body has changed. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of nice to know that you don't have to do as much,
Yes.
in a
Yes.
way that 10 minutes can be the answer. And maybe just look at the routines you're doing. Are they draining you or are
Yeah.
they energizing you? Because we are funny as humans. We tend to do things that mess us up and make us exhausted and put
It's
us in
true.
pain. And
It's
other
true. It's like
animals don't do that.
and they and it goes against our instinct. Like it feels good to do
Yeah.
this, but we're gonna do something that doesn't feel good.
And then we're managing appointments to
Yes.
get us back to do the things we were doing,
Yes.
like and if you look at animals, they do the movement, which what we do in our fascia flow, it's called pandiculation. It's for
Mm.
all areas of the body. They do that 40 to 50 times a day. And it's almost like when you think of a body stretch, that tension with the lengthening,
Yes.
that's pandiculation.
Y
It's more intuitive for us, our
it
our
it
whole,
is.
being. Yeah.
It is. That's beautiful. Thank you, Drina. So I'm gonna link to Drina's account is really fun because I also love that you have like what is it, BTS? Is that the K-pop band? Like you
Yeah.
have like movement flows to BTS and then also really educational, like informative, serious work that we can take home with us. So we'll link to it. But I just appreciate all of your work. And I've learned from this because yeah, I'm starting to transition. Like I'm gonna be 40 next month into that new phase of life where I'm going intuitively, this feels better. Why do I feel like this? So this is really something to take home and to know that yeah, rebounding is healing in this way and small amounts go a long way. And then yeah, check out Dreena, follow Dreena so you can see her journey. And I also love your cookbooks for what
Thank
that's worth.
you.
And the way that you look at a 360 way, it's not just rebounding, but it's also the food you put into your body and the way you hydrate and like everything that happens for our mind and our body. So thank you. Any last words before we say goodbye?
No, I just have fun too. Movement's meant to be fun. If it's a chore, then what kind of signal is that in the
So
body,
true.
right? It's meant to be fun.
So
Yeah.
true. On that note, everybody bounce. All right. Thank you, Dreena.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
hopping on. Thank you, Bellicon family. See you soon.